I think the definition of customer centricity is actually changing and evolving over time. People often think about it in terms of having a database and having customers at the centre of what they do, having a lot of information and putting those into the hands of their customer-facing staff. But I think that whole concept is actually evolving because with the advent of the connected consumer who has a smartphone or the power of a PC in the palm of their hand at all times, there's been a shift in their expectations, and in today's world customers are expecting a lot more from brands and from, in our world, retailers than actually retailers are used to giving them. And I think being customer-centric now is not just about what data do you actually know about customers, how do you actually put that into the hands of your customer service staff and your customer-facing staff, and how do you design your products and stores around them. It's actually there's a lot more immediacy in what's going on with being customer-centric. A lot of it depends on where the customer actually is in their journey with you. Where are they physically? Where are they physically located? What is the situation that they're actually in? Are they a top customer who's coming back to the store for the 4th time this week? Are they a lapsed customer? Are they're about to, rewards are all about to expire? And the other thing is what's their kind of emotional state in that moment in time when they're actually dealing with you. So customer centricity has become a lot more complicated, and there are another layer of dimensions to the typical segmentation and profile and preferences that we've all known and loved and used over the last many years to deliver insights back into our organisation. And it's resulting in organisations having to be a lot more immediate, a lot more responsive, and be omnipresent whenever the customer wants to connect with your brand, whatever platform they choose, whether it's a physical platform, it's a digital platform, they actually can do that. Asia has tremendous opportunity in O2O, or people call it different things, click to collect. One of the key benefits, a couple of things that make Asia different from other markets like the US, UK, Australia, these are big e-commerce markets, and in many respects Asia is also, but predominantly a lot of those data is coming from China. So if you take China separate from Southeast Asia, I think you have to actually look at the two separately. I think in the markets of Southeast, like Asia ex-China, O2O has a tremendous opportunity, and that's predominantly because retail, or traditional retail through physical stores, is still the vast majority of all retail transactions. A lot of these markets do not have very high credit card penetration, or even if they do, the trust is not quite there yet as it is in other markets. And so while people are maybe hesitant to actually use mobile or use online to complete a purchase or a transaction, it is having a tremendous influence on researching and becoming more informed and making the purchase decision. And if you can use that channel as a way to actually get people informed and help them to actually make their purchase decision, it doesn't really matter in the end whether the transaction takes place through a mobile or an online channel, or whether it actually takes place in the store. At Sprooki we enable both because we work in developed Asian markets like Singapore and Hong Kong and Australia, where credit cards have high penetration and people are comfortable transacting online. But then you have markets like Indonesia, the Philippines, in some respects Malaysia, where there's still that high degree of comfort of actually walking into a store to actually transact and collect the goods. And so I think in these markets O2O has a big opportunity. I think O2O has a big opportunity in the more developed Asian markets as well, but in those markets it's more likely that you'll actually complete the transaction online and then either ask for it to be delivered if that's more convenient for you, or pick it up in store. The phenomena of malls in Asia, as opposed to the way that Australia or the US works, is that people are often around retail. They're in malls, it's part of their lifestyle. They eat in malls, they transit through malls as part of bus interchanges and MRT stations. So malls are really a part of lifestyle as opposed to just a destination to do your grocery shopping. And I think that is a key advantage for retailers in Asia, that people are frequently around malls, so the O2O strategy is extremely important to Asia, perhaps more important than for multi-channel or omni-channel retailers in other parts of the world. First and foremost, when a retailer or a brand is actually embarking on their omni-channel strategy, it's really important that the entire organisation has bought into it and is aligned. So that's right from the CEO and the board and the shareholders right down to the frontline staff and the sales associates in the store. Without that internal alignment and understanding the vision of why they're doing this and what actually needs to happen at all touch points and all levels in the organisation to enable it, it will just be very piecemeal, and that will cause problems later on. Deploying omni-channel strategies and O2O specifically, it's not something that you're going to switch it on overnight, it's going to have immediate impact. The organisation will go through a massive learning curve, because particularly organisations or retailers who haven't embarked on anything digital, and this might be the first step or their first foray into digital, is to enable ordering with payment and collect in store, or payment online and collect in store. These kind of strategies, it's very, very important that there is this kind of alignment and that they're very clear. I think O2O is a good way for a lot of traditional retailers to start, and I would encourage anyone to try and test and learn different technologies, platforms, software providers, test things out with their actual customers before they actually necessarily just kind of go ahead and launch something, because the organisation needs to go through that learning curve. It's important to have a strategic framework within which that you have perhaps a longer term vision or a longer term plan of where you want to be, but recognise that that's only a guesstimate. So the test and learn needs to be part of that strategic framework. Yep. And of course work with partners like Sprooki who are experienced in the space. If you're not an organisation that can afford to drop millions of dollars on your own internal technology teams, then it's good to actually work with a platform provider like Sprooki, who has the experience in implementation as well as an understanding of the customer journey, and can actually diffuse some of the costs across multiple different customers. And I think a lot of retailers in Asia are not necessarily have the deep enough pockets or have the time and the expertise internally to embark on massive technology investments and turnkey projects themselves. And so that's kind of why we came up with Sprooki in the first place, was to actually assist those type of retailers. This all comes down to your customer's journey and how you can actually influence customers at different stages in their journey. And their journey will differ depending on exactly what you mentioned, whether they're a new customer, whether they're an infrequent customer, whether they're a lapsed customer, and being able to actually engage with them at that moment that matters. So what you have today is a tremendous opportunity to actually engage customers during that journey based on their physical location and their situation that we haven't had in the past. And we get that because of mobility and because of just the sheer amount of data that we can actually produce from understanding customers' locations and situations and mapping that with their actions and their behaviour and their profile, what they've chosen to give us, the information they've chosen to give us. And so engaging the customers at the right time can actually make the difference. So for example, let's say that a customer has installed an application from your brand onto their phone, and they've looked at it once, and within a week they haven't looked at it again. Now, there's pretty strong data that suggests that if someone installs an app on your phone and they actually haven't relaunched it within a week period, then it's highly unlikely that they're ever going to relaunch it. So if you know that information about customer engagement, then you can prepare activation strategies to actually push information to those customers to try and entice those particular customers to try before and to activate before they turn into a statistic. So I think it's like that understanding of what is the actual journey and how they're actually using the different channels within that you're offering them. At what points are the potential lapse? You know, at what points would they potentially become a lapsed user, so that you can actually engage them prior to that to try and avoid that happening.